Season 3 of Let's Go Trophy Huntin continues today. We are back out here in the Hunter Classic on Loggers Point, and we're running with a very simple loadout. We have the 12 gauge over and under shotgun with birdshot, buckshot, and slugs, and we have the Red Dragon compound bow. That basically is going to allow us to change our map setup today. You may recall I mentioned in the last episode about trying to fill feeders to improve our odds for feral hog and black bear and stuff like that. Unfortunately, my logger setup at the moment, this hog feeder is just not that good. So the ultimate goal today as we're running around is to end up in this area, move this tent, put a hog feeder there, and be set to go for the next time we come here. But in the meantime, we have a lot of ground to cover, and hopefully we can get to continuing to add to our lodge. And always a nice little bonus, getting a animal to come in right where you spawned, especially when that is at a tent. Got a kind of decent coyote here, not one that would potentially go to the lodge, but one that we can take with the bow. Kind of running the direction that we want to go in. I'm surprised that wasn't a drop shot, but I'm guessing single lung and he won't go far. And he most certainly did not make it all that far. I considered actually taking him with buckshot there, but if there's one animal around right where we spawned, there could be other ones. I didn't want to send everything running. He did make 50, but that is something no doubt we can get better ones of as we're hunting around, so that will not be added to the lodge. In typical The Hunter Classic fashion, we've got a small buck coming in when we have another one that we've been tracking, and we're going to have to try to drop him without letting the other one know anything is going on, so gotta place that shot well. I've been tracking this 85 to 100 weight estimate buck for the better part of 30 minutes now. And he had just grunted, and then of course this buck comes in. So hopefully we can kind of get up on these rocks and get a better view. And I'm pretty sure our shot was off in time to not spook him, so I hope he's still coming in. Now that looks a whole lot better. 170 to 195, go figure. We spent, whatever it was, 2.5 hours over on Settler Creeks last week. Biggest buck we managed was in the area of 150. Been out here on loggers for about 35 minutes, and we have at least a 170. Gotta get back on our little rock here. Unfortunately, we can't climb all the way up to the top, but if we can get him a little closer, we could just go for a 40-meter shot. I'm not wearing, like, any camo, so it might actually be intelligent to try to get him from a distance rather than spook him again, especially given the amount of time we've been tracking. That will do it. Not bad. It's so rare. It seems like in general, but especially when recording, that I'll get a heavy track that actually leads to anything whatsoever. Half the time, if anything, it's the other buck. Like in this case, that small one that came in. Sometimes we'll get a grunt while tracking, and that turns out to be a better buck than the one that we were trailing, but in this case, it most certainly worked out. 40+ meter shot with the Red Dragon bow. I kind of chose that because of our camo, by the way. I mean, we're wearing, I think, blue jeans as well, but good looking deer. We'll see what we have with this guy. It was 43.9 meters, double lung, 177. Probably one that'll go into the lodge. In fact, I mean, it's considerably better than the one that we shot on Settlers, so at least it could replace that one day. I like it. The lighting is not great, but I like the way that trophy shot turned out. I wish I could have done like the deer hunter where you hold the antler, but at least in this particular position, it really doesn't line up, but not bad. First Trophy Lodge edition of the day is only our third kill, and we really haven't gone that far. We're not far from where we spawned, and hopefully we can just keep that up. As we kind of move towards mule deer territory, we're continuing to encounter whitetail today. A big, wide 8-point there, 105 to 125, I think it said, and again, our lack of camouflage is not exactly helping things, but I like to kind of switch it up, and I don't know, I think it makes for cooler trophy shots when you're not always just having the exact same clothing on, but a nice clean frame 8. I like the look of that. I know you can get them with the more mass, like a, say, a 150 or so. 107 obviously isn't going anywhere for a trophy lodge, but it's a good looking deer. I don't know that we're really going to want a pheasant in the trophy lodge unless we can maybe get a rare. I just kind of think that turkeys look better in the lodge than the pheasants do, so I'm not extremely confident that we'll ever have one in the lodge, but when one's calling, I want to go look. I've never shot a rare pheasant of any kind in Hunter Classic. No hens, no roosters, they've been out for a lot of years, and it's never been something we've been able to encounter, so I do tend to at least try to go and look when they call. And this guy wasn't too bad, 24.5, nothing crazy, and like I said, unless we get a really big one or a rare, I imagine the turkeys that we have, or maybe turkeys that we'll eventually get, will kind of retain those two spots. There's not a lot of room to put any other pheasants in there. Go figure, I just mentioned that, and we have a max score estimate pheasant out here. I know the weight seems to determine some things with their score, and he does only go up to 2.8 kg, but that's close enough to the max for me. 3 is the max weight. Let's kind of get reloaded here. I'd like to get him to flush down the hill, because there's a lot of brush and potential obstructions up the hill. We'll see if he'll kind of cooperate or what he's going to do. A lot of times they basically just go forward, so if we can work with that, that was a pretty good sized bird. Now, at the moment, we have, I think it was a 65 scoring turkey and a 60 scoring turkey. 60 is not exactly special, so we may have at least a temporary addition. I think his tail looks pretty good. The tail length is what they're scored on. It just seems that the higher weight ones have a better score. 28.8. That might be a new personal best for me. That's definitely getting taxed. If you manage a 29 scoring pheasant in Classic, you've got a usually pretty high leaderboards one. 28.8, especially considering I don't tend to hunt pheasants that often, I would bet is my personal best. And definitely going to replace that 60 scoring turkey. Of course I had to mention that before one would show up, but that's 2 really nice kills off of Loggers Point so far. We've finally reached the tower where I want to put the hog feeder, and I went ahead and hit the Bobcat color before we spook stuff, because once we start placing feeders and moving tents and stuff around, it is going to spook the animals, so we can go ahead and drop that with a buckshot. Just a little bonus kill. I was hoping to see maybe a good size one. Oftentimes at the center tower there are some nice bobcats around, and I'm trying to think between the maps that we have. I think it is just coyotes and bobcats that could potentially go on the medium platforms. So we'll need maybe one of each, or at least good ones from one of the species, but I actually am going to take that color with us. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our bobcat, in which we basically hit everything. 6.7 score, and now we got to do a little inventory gymnastics to get the tent placed and the hog feeder placed. So finally, 2 hours into our hunt, we get to see some mule deer bucks, and there are 5 here. None of them are all that special, and I think we'll just take the first one, as I think he is the biggest, and at the moment the bow is our only option. As I mentioned, kind of had to do some inventory gymnastics. We unequipped the shotgun, got the hog feeder, and then I think that allowed us to have room to pick up the tent and bring it over here, and we're close to where it needs to go, but the bucks decided to show up while we don't have anything else. 152 is not bad, and basically we need to go up to the little T in the road up here and place our tent. We should be set to go. Looks like, unfortunately, our quest to fill a medium-sized platform today is going to continue to yield kind of average-sized animals. Another coyote that's probably going to be in the area of 50 score. Of course, that bobcat earlier was nowhere close, but I basically want to dip down into this area, maybe swing back around and go down into this little kind of meadow down there, and we're probably going to be about ready to wrap up. So I hate to use a gun, but there was a male coyote call, had to bring it in. It is just a 49.4, but at the very least good CSS and some GM for potential taxidermizing animals that we get in this series. We may, in fact, have no reason to go and check out that meadow. This is the result I was hoping to see. 185 to 215, he's got that one short time. I'm not certain he's going to crack 200, I hope he does. And of course, you know, a 200 mule deer wouldn't exactly be an incredible achievement, but it would be a good starting place for mule deer in our lodge. And for the moment, we got some other ones coming in. I don't really have any purpose in trying to shoot a bunch of them. If this were the carbon recurve or the longbow that we had, those we don't have 1,000 kills with, but with the red dragon we do, so we can kind of send everything running off there with the buckshot. We can take a look at our bigger buck, which, I don't know, he's got the long beams and everything of a 200, just that one short tine might keep him from making it. Not the best shot we ever made. Spine, liver, and intestine, 192. I'll think about that one when we go back. We'll go ahead and grab our other buck here. And actually, we may still kind of head back towards the meadow anyway. We need to get to the Trophy Logic course to wrap up, and we have about 15 minutes till we can fast travel, so might as well make the most of it. A mule deer buck grunt was enough to kind of change our plans there. Unfortunately not a special buck, 140 to 165, and with an opportunity to use the 12 gauge slugs at a bit of a range, I figure we'll take him, and pretty much calling him in here to the tower has taken up the time remaining that we needed to fast travel, so we should be able to get him, and in a matter of a moment or two, if not immediately after, head back to our lodge and take a look at our couple of new additions. And I'm still not sure about the mule deer. I think because we're adding another deer in the whitetail, we probably won't mount the mule deer. I do want one in the lodge by the time we're done, but at least for now, I think we can do better. 146 for that guy, and we can take a look and see if we are ready. We got 1 minute, and then we can go back. Now, of course, with this being multiplayer, we can't actually adjust the poses here in the Trophy Lodge, but we can see our two new additions, and at 177, I thought this whitetail looked a little bit bigger seeing it here in the lodge. It is a 183 subtotal, so I guess it kind of makes sense, and then our 28.8 pheasant. I just think that is so cool. I'm pretty sure that is a personal best, and of course only one new slot filled because we replaced the turkey with that. But I like it. Now we have our weapons here on the wall. We have the Red Dragon bow and the engraved F3 12 gauge shotgun. And I'm just looking forward to continuing this series. It was a lot of fun to get out there on another map again today, add to the Trophy Lodge, and we got the setup for the next time we go to Loggers Point. And I'm not sure which map we're headed to next, but I plan to probably fill a bear barrel maybe on Red Feather and have a chance to go after them as well. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.